Hello, darlings, and welcome to CareOffBook. It's me, Care Darling, and today we are talking about next to normal proshot. I have a lot of thoughts, a lot of feelings, okay? It broke me, it really did. How did we get here? So I did a reaction of the Tony Awards, and one of you darlings, bless your beautiful hide.
Bless your beautiful hide.
Told me, hey, you could watch the proshot on PBS, and guess what? So can you. I believe it leaves by July, so I hope that you get to enjoy it. But listen, there's a lot of stuff in this, okay? I would recommend to watch it, then come and hang out with me. But listen, there's a lot of crying, okay? In case you don't know, Next to Normal is an emotional rock musical that follows Diana Goodman, a mother struggling with bipolar disorder and the trauma of losing her son. As her family fights to hold it all together, it explores how mental illness impacts not just the individual, but the entire family unit. The 2023 West End production, directed by Michael Longhurst, was staged at Wyndham's Theatre after its sold-out run at Donmar Warehouse. The proshot stars Cassie Levi as Diana, Jamie Parker as Dan, Jack Wolf as the son, Eleanor Worthington Cox as Natalie, Jack Ofrecio as Henry, and Trevor Dion Nicholas as the doctors. This filmed version captures the raw intimacy of the West End staging and has been praised for its sensational performances and honest portrayal of grief, healing, and hope. Talk about not knowing everything when I was watching this musical. It is a heavy musical. I actually appreciate that I didn't see any disclaimers because I felt like I was going through the emotions along with the family. So if you haven't seen the musical, again, I do recommend seeing it. I will be sharing spoilers here, and you will see me sob, okay? That's the warning, okay? In the beginning of the musical, we meet the Goodman family, and I love that Diana comes off more free-spirited. I was only familiar with Alice Ripley's portrayal, where she felt more matronly, but seeing Diana as someone younger really clicks. It makes so much sense, especially knowing she had a son at a young age. For those who haven't been around someone that has been diagnosed with bipolar, I'm just here to say I'm not a doctor. I'm just speaking off of experience. Like, I have known people, like whether they were like friends, family, or even an ex. So again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just speaking off of my own experiences. There's something I call being manic. It's when someone seems totally fine, super productive, and really inspired, like they're on top of the world. But what people don't always realize is that it's actually the peak before everything crashes. That's why I felt it was hard for the family to recognize that Diana was in a manic state, because from the outside, it looked like she was thriving. But really, it's like a roller coaster reaching the top right before it drops into chaos. My heart broke for Diana when you realize that she's been medicated or trying to seek the right medication for 16 years, and she's also diagnosed with bipolar. The moment my heart fully dropped was when Diana was trying to figure out the medication, and at one point she tells the doctor, "I don't feel anything," and he says, "Patient stable." Oh. We meet Henry, and he seems fond of Natalie right away. So I actually wrote notes about the musical. Can I read what I wrote about Henry? Okay, so it says, Henry is weird, represents more of the flow kind of guy, while Natalie seems OCD. Think jazz and classical coming together, which makes sense because she's playing the piano and he even has a love for jazz, so I'm not very creative there, am I? I love the flashback scene showing the parallels between Diana's relationship with her husband Dan and the way Natalie and Henry's relationship is beginning to blossom. When Diana sings about missing the mountains, I took it as her missing the highs, the moments of feeling truly alive. It's like she can't handle the flatness and emotional numbness that come with being medicated, so she ends up dumping her pills down the sink. When I heard the song I Miss the Mountains, it actually brought me back. Do you guys remember Patty's masterclass and that girl sang the song? First off, now I realize the girl was very young to be singing that song, but this is what lives in my mind.
And in this particular song, I would imagine the mountains are an orgasm. You know what I mean? Okay. Is it really mountains, is what I'm saying? Or is it some facet of your life that was, ecstatically high?
So the note I wrote when Diana throws out her medication is this: Wow, the faucet in the kitchen works. Also, is the sun alive? Diana brings out a cake with 18 candles, even though Natalie's only 16. That's when it hits us. The sun isn't really there. He's a delusion Diana's been holding on to. Now I thought, oh, this is when they're going to reveal how the son passed away, so I thought it was a good idea to go ahead and react to it. And even I didn't even expect myself to react like this, so here it is. Okay, I am 30 minutes in and I had to pause because it's interesting. I'm writing my notes and at one point I was like, wait a minute, is the son already dead? Because for some reason I thought he was alive and then something happens and then she's in despair. And now we're finding out like he wasn't there this whole time and I'm in shock. So the father is singing and I was like, let me record, okay. Do you feel he's still real? Oh no, he's trying to, how do you do that? I don't know. Oh, and the daughter is, he's been dead. Oh, I can't. Language. She didn't even curse. She just said it's just bull. Dang. Henry, this is awkward. You gotta go, buddy. Also, I don't know, Henry's a weird dude to me. What happened to him? She's not on her meds. Don't worry, I get worse, but I'm totally fine. I honestly think the proshot is stronger than the original Broadway cast. I went back and compared performances, and I stand by this. Aaron Tveit was way too smoking hot to play the son. He had no right being that buff and holding his castmates like that. It came off way too romantic. Jack Wolf, on the other hand, actually looked and moved like a teenage boy, which made the dynamic feel more believable. In numbers like You Don't Know and I'm the One, I also preferred the proshot staging. I love that Diana starts frantically cleaning. It felt like her way of avoiding reality. In the original, she throws silverware, which didn't hit as hard for me. And Dan trying to hold her gaze in the proshot instead of dodging flying forks, so much more powerful. It broke my heart. He's just trying to reach her. You can almost hear him silently asking, do you understand? Can you hear me? How do I help? It was the dad that brought me into tears. Like he was trying so hard to keep this family together. Ugh, the dad is breaking my heart. Hurt my knee. You say that you... Oh. Oh, I'm losing it. Oh. This is so better, so much better than the Tonys. Oh. Don't know who I am. That was such good blocking. It was so beautifully done. Oh my God. When Natalie sings Superboy and the Invisible Girl, it hits hard. It's just a powerful song that really captures how she feels like she's constantly in a competition with a ghost. Superboy and Invisible Girl. She can't compete with a ghost. The wrong kid died. Oh my gosh.
Wrong kid died. The wrong kid died. Wrong kid died, god damn it.
And then her mom says something like, I love you as much as I can. And I put WTF, like, dang. Natalie gets high. Boo, Henry. Here's the thing, the actor did a great job with Henry. I'm just finding the character, I did not like this character at all. Like, first off, he was the one that was smoking weed, and then he was the one that planted the idea of like, wow, your mom has all this medication, you could totally steal it and take it, but I wouldn't do it because I liked like homegrown things, natural and whatever. And so it was just bugging me. I don't know. He gave me the, I don't know about this guy from the very beginning. And then I felt like he was actually the one that was dropping ideas into Natalie's head. And she was just like, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. So I was like, boo, Henry, boo. Diana switches to a new therapist, and while it's played for laughs, she imagines him as this intense rock star. It's also kind of heartbreaking. We're watching her try to unpack the trauma of losing her son, but it's messy and painful. When her son sings, "I'm alive," it feels like he only exists because Diana keeps his memory so present. He's literally alive through her. Meanwhile, Dan is so focused on keeping things together and pretending everything's fine, he doesn't even notice that Natalie is quietly falling apart. Oh no, Natalie's taking her mom's meds. Thanks, Henry, for giving that idea. I really hated Henry. During a hypnosis session, Diana starts recalling pieces of her past, and we learn that she had Natalie early but couldn't bring herself to hold her. It gave me insight into why she's so emotionally distant from her daughter, but sadly, that understanding doesn't undo the damage. Natalie continues to feel invisible even as her parents completely forget to show up for her piano recital. The song "Catch Me, I'm Falling" is so haunting, and what struck me most was this. Every character is falling apart and there's no one who's truly able to catch them. So the musical continues. We see Diane with a baby box that she's going to let go of, which was her son's. Like, even Dan's like, this is a really good step for you. And I was like, man, my heart was already like at this point. She sings about like wishing to dance with her son, which I took it as, you know, wishing I could have made more memories with you. Now, when comparing to the OG Broadway one, if I remember correctly when looking at it, Aaron Tveit, he is too distracting. I think he comes in a tux, almost as if like, oh my gosh, you would have been going to your prom or something like that. And then she's literally dancing with him versus seeing the proshot where it's just like her holding him or him holding her. And okay, at this point in the musical, I was already teary-eyed. And then he sings "There's a Place." And in my head, I'm like, oh, West Side Story, there's a place for us, right? I took this, you guys, oh my gosh. I took this moment as if he's saying there's a place, like for us within your heart, right? I did not expect this to go down the way it did. Warning, this is when I truly break, and here comes the clip.
I did not expect that. Oh, Diane, I didn't expect that at all. Oh my gosh. Now they want to electrocute her. It's like, hasn't Diane suffered enough? I can't. I feel so bad for her and this dad. Oh my gosh. And who'd have thought this is a musical, right? I don't think people realize why I think it's so dumb that musicals are put in the comedy category in award shows when this is a musical. I can't.
These are my notes. Shock therapy, WTF. I did not expect this musical to go down like this. This dad is so desperate, but what are you to do when Diana tried to take her life? What was the inspiration for this musical? And guess what? I looked it up. Writer Brian Yorkie got the initial idea after watching a segment on electroconvulsive therapy, which led him and composer Tom Kitt to create what began as a short piece called Feeling Electric. So glad they didn't stick with that name. I feel like it would have given a huge chunk of the plot away. As the show evolved, it shifted from satire to a deeply emotional look at how bipolar disorder, grief, and trauma affect an entire family. The creators wanted to highlight the complexities of mental illness, not just for those experiencing it, but for those who love them, and in doing so, created a groundbreaking rock musical that won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. Okay, so back to the story, it moves on. We see Natalie start getting high. Henry's concern for her really starts to grow. Meanwhile, Diana undergoes shock therapy, and I remember thinking, I have no idea where this plot is going. When she returns home after 3 weeks of her therapy, she doesn't recognize Natalie. And at first I thought she was gonna be like, I'm just kidding. Like, I thought it was gonna be a joke, but she's not joking. She doesn't even recognize Dan, and like a lot of her memories are missing. And with that, we also stop seeing the son, which makes it clear just how deeply the treatment has affected her. Life for this family is just moving on, right? And then like Henry comes and he's like, oh, I want to take you to the dance, Natalie, because I care about you. And I'm like, go away, Henry. I'm sorry. I did think it was cute. I noticed that he's actually wearing Natalie's scrunchie on his wrist, because in the beginning of the musical, her hair's in a ponytail, and then as things are getting wild, her hair is becoming wild, and then he's wearing the scrunchie. I just feel for Natalie. Like, don't go to the dance, go to therapy, Natalie, because there's these like harsh, horrific experiences that she is going through that like you have to have a lot of understanding for that person and empathy. But to think like she's a teenager, like she deserves to have a childhood, right? Oh, Natalie. At first, I thought it was sweet that Dan was trying so hard to help Diana rebuild her memories, but leaving out what happened with her son felt heartbreaking. At the same time, what choice does he have? It was that tragedy that triggered her delusions and depression in the first place. Still, Diana can sense something's missing, and it feels inevitable that those memories will come back. It was the therapist that ended up spilling by accident, and then she starts to remember, and she goes to Dan and she's like, Dan, say his name. Say my name, say my name. That's when I realized I don't even know their son's name. I'm purposely not sharing the name in this episode because when it is revealed, I don't know, I felt like there was like a piece of me like healed just a little. So if you don't know, I don't know, I think it was really nice experiencing that. We continue to see parallels between Natalie and her mom, and when they finally share a moment together, Diana opens up and tells her how her brother passed. That felt like such a huge step. Diana finally acknowledging the truth, even though it's incredibly painful. I was shocked to learn that the son was 8 months old. Listen, I'm a new mom. My baby girl, she's 4 months. So a lot of this was, I guess you can say, yes, was triggering for me, or I put the pathetic and empathetic. So I felt a sense of like feeling a lot of like these characters' emotions, okay? I was on a journey with this. I don't know why, but for some reason, I thought the son passed away at a later age. Okay, when I went into this musical, I thought we were going to meet him and then he passes away. And then once I learned that, I was like, he passed away when he was younger, but I didn't expect it to be a baby. I don't know how the cast can do it. The fact that Cassie is so amazing in this musical. I don't know how they can do this like night after night and then a matinee. Like even looking at the orchestra, I'm like, how can you guys sit there through this musical over and over? I wouldn't be able to handle it at all. So the song Perfect for You comes on, not the Ariana Grande version, but it's Henry singing to Natalie. And here are my notes, okay? Poor Natalie and her own fears. Henry is 17 and thinks he's perfect for her. Boo. I know. It's like I have such a like for Henry. And I'm just like, Natalie, like there were things that your mom couldn't do, and it's like, but you can, and you can learn so much about yourself by traveling and just like becoming your own person. You don't have to be in your brother's shadow. Like you're not behind a ghost. And to me, it's like, I feel like Natalie's just moving on. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's like a coping, like codependency. That's what it is. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't think Natalie's safe with Henry. That's just my opinion. So I do have a thought about Natalie. I didn't like her look. I actually wanted her to be more polished. I liked how, you know, in the pro shot, the mom looked, right? Like more free and stuff. And so I wanted something as if like Natalie had to grow up faster than everybody, and she's trying to keep things together. And then through her costume, we see the evolution of like maybe her hair was like slicked back, and then her hair is then just like slicked down, but we're seeing the puffiness. So I guess what I would have appreciated is that the audience is like, hey, your girl is going through something, and we see it because we know her journey. But then as far as the parents, because they're like trying to just hold it together, and they're, you know, like the priority isn't their daughter, like there's something about her where they don't even see it happening. Also, maybe I missed it because I was crying so hard, but is there something where Natalie is like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get clean and stuff? Did I just miss that? When Diana tells Dan she's leaving, I was genuinely shocked. Where is she even going? She can't drive, but she's made up her mind. It leaves Dan completely alone, and in that quiet, heartbreaking moment, his son appears to him, and for the first time, Dan finally acknowledges his own grief. He says his name. That moment got me. Oh my gosh, Dan was the one throughout this musical. He was the one that kept just like breaking my heart, taking a hammer, smashing it over and over. And I'd love to know, what was your thought or like interpretation of this scene? I'll share mine, but it is something where I'm like, oh, it could go both ways, right? So he finally sees his son, he acknowledges it, right? And says the name. Now, I don't think he's doing the same thing that Diane is doing. Like, she's having full-on delusions. I think it's him being alone and finally facing his grief, right? And in a way, it's like, that's what Diana had to do, right? She had to face the reality and face the grief and say out loud what happened, versus Dan, he actually has to do the same thing, but his was more like avoidance. Like, I don't have to talk about it. That was so many years ago. Not even saying the son's name and stuff like that. So I took it as him finally grieving when he just tried to push it to the side. Love to know your thoughts. Diana ends up going to live with her parents, and honestly, the ending didn't leave me with a sense of hope or comfort. It just felt like another day, which in a way makes sense. For those living with mental illness, there's often no clean resolution, no easy fix. But I was proud of Dan for finally saying yes to therapy after resisting it at first. In the end, I just found myself hoping the best for this family because they've all been through so much. So those were my thoughts, but let me tell you stuff that I thought was interesting about this musical. The proshot had to censor the language since it was airing on TV, which makes sense. I actually thought it fit the dad's character. Not swearing felt like part of him trying to keep up this image that everything was fine, the family was still normal, but I was confused when the daughter got called out for using bad language when she hadn't actually cursed. Now that I know it was censored, it all clicks. Next to Normal is one of only 10 musicals to win the Pulitzer Prize for Drama. It joined an elite group of musicals like Rent, Sunday in the Park with George, and Hamilton. The Pulitzer is usually awarded to plays, so this was a major win for a rock musical tackling mental health. Real doctors use this as a teaching tool. Some mental health professionals have used Next to Normal in therapy training programs. It's been praised for how it explores the ripple effects of mental illness within a family and how grief, medication, and identity can collide in really human, complicated ways. Anyway, darlings, thank you so much for hanging out with me in this episode. Thank you to the one that said, hey, there's a pro shot that you can watch.
Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
I love recommendations. I love talking about theater. And if you love that too, like you love musicals, Disney, and other performances, stick around to find out. Why am I trying to throw Funny Girl into this? I'm just saying, love to know your thoughts, love to keep talking about theater things, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care, darling.